And good evening. Hope you're having a lovely and wonderful week. My name is Sarah and you're listening to Modern Mystic Radio on Ask One Radio, the world's #1 psychic radio network, and Moonstruck TV. I am going to be taking 2 callers today, so get dialing and hopefully being able to get through both of those callers and do you both a reading. So get dialing those numbers. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself before I start my topic for today. So yes, I'm a psychic. I've been a psychic all of my life. I've been working professionally for about 27 years now. I started my psychic journey off really from the age of 17 professionally. I was thrown in at the deep end. And I started working, and it's been a massive journey ever since. And as with many psychics, you have waves, if you like, waves of experiences and really going into it sort of head first, then stepping out of it to deal with life, etc. And also we go through really strong and powerful life-changing experiences as well. And our journeys as psychics or sensitives can be very tough sometimes. So this is where, a psychic reading can really be of help. So I work in a variety of different ways. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of history about myself. So I've been working here for 27 years, have my own private practice. I also work on UK TV as well. I work with a variety of different tools. I'm kind of known for my use of different methods. So I'll use scrying, I'll use cards, I'll use runes, also use an Akashic crystal as well. It's called a cathedral light ray, and it enables me to tap into the Akashic realms to really get a deeper, more soul level reading for you. I'm also known as the soulmate psychic. So I like to look at soulmate issues, looking at that whole soulmate crisis. So if this is something that you can relate to, and maybe you're suffering from soulmate separation, which can be intensely emotional, intensely painful, we can also have a look at that as well. Okay, so my topic for today is ascension. What is it all about? So let's just sort of break it down a little bit here. The word ascension basically means it's about raising our vibration. Now, previously, in times gone past, this will be isolated to just a few individuals. But what's happening now on the planet is like a mass awakening, a mass sense of, finding our own spirituality. And this has been coming in over the last 20 odd years in waves, waves of transformation. And there are certain elements or certain symptoms, if you like, of ascension, and we're going to go through into those in a little bit more detail. I'm going to break down, it's not complete, the list isn't complete, we're just going to break down a few of the symptoms that you might resonate with, that you may be experiencing yourself. So number one is really that sense of feeling like you're not connecting necessarily with our reality. You're sort of breaking away from anything that is kind of deemed as quite negative or maybe materialistic, so you're finding that you're not feeling that you're fitting in properly anymore. So what you're doing actually is needing to go within and find that sense of spirituality and find that connectedness as well. Now, a lot of people have tried to find that connectedness within twin flame and soulmate relationships, which is why it's an area that I do like to specialize in. So let's have a look. So number one, you will experience a deeper sense of sensitivity in your body. Okay, so this can manifest in sleep disturbances, energy fluctuations, 1 minute feeling, literally full of the joys of spring, and next minute feeling absolutely exhausted. Sensitivity towards food, more intolerances, and not being able to cope with and adjust to the things that you used to be able to. A sense and a feeling of wanting to step away from certain people, particularly if they drag your energy down. And even, maybe even going on a bit of a hermit mission, where you feel like you want to separate from, the rest of humankind for a while. And this is what a lot of people have been doing or been finding themselves doing. Some of the other symptoms that we've been experiencing are life-changing elements here. So, a massive change in job or relationship, or, a big move here where it kind of takes you away from what wasn't working for you previously. This is all part of the process. And I'm also going to go through some of the other more positive aspects, which is actually a feeling of going through a sense of bliss, of feeling at one, of wanting to be connected to the earth energy, enjoying that a lot more, also feeling more connected with the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom as well. So we have our first caller here, and her name is Tracy, and she's in Victoria, Australia. Hello, Tracy, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
I'm really well, thank you. Right, do you have a question for me?
Just wondering about a car that I'm waiting on being delivered to me.
Can you repeat that? You're waiting for what to be delivered to you?
I'm waiting for a car to be delivered to me. Yes.
Okay, let's have a look here and see when that's going to arrive. Okay, so for whatever reason, I'm being shown paperwork here with this. Okay, you've been told here to wait for the right timing here around this. Also being shown here the number, okay, so between 17 and 20. So we are, I want to say, I feel like this is going to be happening over the next few days. I don't feel like you've got a huge length of time. I feel like this is just almost like waiting for those final bits to actually arrive here. Does that make sense, or get sorted? So I feel like you're almost there. You're almost at this finishing point. I feel like I've got you. I'm seeing you driving in it. Okay, and it seems to be like a massive relief to you. Does that make sense? So I feel that this is perhaps dragged on a little longer than it should have done.
Yes.
But I have got you in that car in what it feels like a matter of days. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, do you have any other questions for me?
Not that I can think of right now.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for calling through.
Thank you very much.
All right, you take care.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Okay, so that was a very, very short and sweet first caller who just wanted to know about when her car was being delivered. Okay, so I'm just going to wait for my next caller to be coming through. So in the meantime, I'm going to go through some more of those ascension type symptoms. Okay, so many people are feeling a sense of, and what we have to bear in mind here, because this is a mass awakening, when we all awaken at the same time, we all connect to that sense of spirituality. It will raise the energy of, our environment. If you just imagine like we're all like stones being thrown into a pond and that ripples out, affecting, if you like, that whole body of water. That's what's going on at the moment. So, first and foremost, having that feeling that something is different or something has changed here for you. Also, a lot of people are sort of stepping away from, if you like, the negative news, and wanting to watch television and things like that. So almost like taking themselves away from that, if you like, the trappings of media, and going into a far more spiritual sort of way of life. Let's just see what else we have here. So awareness and the cleansing of negative patterns. Now, this has been huge, absolutely huge over the past few years, and this is an area that I've noticed significantly within my readings. Is that sense over the last year of almost like everything coming full circle. So what we've been seeing is a lot of X's coming in from the past, a lot of our energy focusing on the road that's been travelled. So a really reflective and deep time for us. So maybe this is something you can connect with as well. Maybe you feel that you've been doing a bit of a clearing of the old energy patterns. And you need to do that in order to, if you like, to break free from that. Now, when we look about clearing our old energy patterns, this is almost like we've been going back. So we're not just clearing this lifetime, but on a soul level, what we have been doing is clearing many lifetimes, and also our ancestral line as well, which is why when we get our catalysts that enable us to clear these old energy blockages, that it can be incredibly intense. Okay, so let's just have a look and see if we have our next caller here, and we do. And this is Amy in Fairfax, Virginia. Hi, Amy, are you there?
Yes, I'm good. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Do you have a question for me?
Yes, I have been looking for a job. So far, I have no luck. I want you to look into the situation for me, please.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've been looking for a job, is that right?
Correct.
Right, okay, so let's have a look and see what I get here with this for you. I'm just going to deal a few cards out for you. So I feel like the next 2 months, I want to say I've got it bearing fruit for you. Because I get an intense feeling of a new beginning coming in. But this seems to be, I want to say there's a huge amount of growth with your next work opportunity. And so I don't know whether you've been thinking or feeling that you want to go into something completely different or something completely new. But it's like I've got a whole new career pathway stepping in for you, because what I get around this is a harnessing of new skills, okay, coming in. Also get a huge amount of learning coming in as well. But it feels like this next move for you work-wise, I feel is going to be quite significant. So it's going to be taking you on a much stronger journey within your career. I also feel here that for you work-wise, it hasn't been smooth. Does that make sense? It's not been a smooth journey. So I feel like you've had to chop and change far more than you would have liked to have done. And it's almost like you've kind of been given a break, if you like, a space in time to really work out what it is that you are trying to bring in, or what is right for you. Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
So have you been thinking of just changing completely and going into a more defined career?
I have, but then I don't know what can I do different,
Okay. Right. Now let me just have a look at this, because I am seeing a job offer coming in, and it does seem to be relating to, your ability to work with other people, to help other people. That seems to be a strong focus here. So your interaction with others is going to be very, very important here. And what I'm also being shown is sort of like stepping stones into almost like a different career altogether for you, but it's not coming in as a straight jump. Okay, if that makes sense. Okay, so you've got a couple of stepping stones with your jobs coming in. The next one is quite significant, and I feel that the reason why I say that is what you'll be learning. What you'll be learning will be paving the way. And I also feel, like I said, I get a feeling of your work journey being a little bit complicated, if that makes sense.
It is, yes.
And you're kind of feeling like you're never going to get there, or that there seems to be, you always seem to be quite unlucky, or you feel unlucky with the work area. Something always seems to go wrong. Now, I feel here when I look at that journey that this is about, it's almost like I've got you speeding through, but learning very specific things about each position that you've got. And like I said, this seems to be paving the way for your future. So it's not necessarily, even though it feels like a negative thing at the time, it's not necessarily long term going to be a negative thing for you, because I feel it will help you to identify with that path. Now, I feel like you've been looking for a new role for some time, but there seems to be a lot of ideas and a lot of thoughts, but you're not quite sure which one is right for you. Okay. But I feel here that it's almost like that path, I'm seeing it being shown to you. So at the moment, what I want to say is to keep a very open mind about what it is that you, with work in general. Okay. So just, how can I put it? Put that thought and intention out that you want a job that is going to enhance your life and be positive and help you to grow as a person, and see what actually steps forward, because I feel like the ideal position will start to slip in that way. I'm being shown here the number 7 around this, so I feel like that is going to be very, very significant here. So I want to say we're either looking at 7 days or 7 weeks, but I feel, or maybe even, the month of July, or, looking for that number 7 is very significant. It may even be a door number of where you work, or a building number of where you work. But I feel that this next position, I get a sense of balance coming in. I also feel there's been a couple of people problems in your previous roles. Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
Yes. And I want to say unfair. The word unfair seems to be coming in. So I don't know whether you felt like you've been treated unfairly. Does that make sense to you?
It does, yes. It does make sense.
I feel here, this has happened more than once as well. So this feels like, I feel like you've got quite a positive energy. I also feel that I feel like this unfairness is kind of coming from another female or other females. Does that make sense?
Yes, very true.
Yeah, but it's almost like you're targeted and you're thinking, what is this? Have I got some sort of sign over my head saying kick me? But I feel here it's almost like I feel like you've got to, when you go into the work area, if you're experiencing it right now, for instance, it's almost like you kind of need to sort of protect your own energy field, because it feels like that there is that element of either being treated unfairly or being bullied or something like that. And this has really worried you. Does that make sense? It's really, I feel such an intense energy around this when I tune into it from your perspective. I don't feel, I'm getting completely different energy with your next role though. This seems to be more family orientated, or more, how can I put it, the team that you'll be working with, the people that you'll be working with and working for are going to be really genuine, as individuals. So you're not going to find this this kind of energy or situation in your next role. If anything, it's going to be a lot more relaxed than you are perhaps used to. So I feel here your next role is actually going to be a bit of a, I want to say it's quite a pleasure. Okay, you're going to be looking forward to going into work. I'm also being shown here that there is room for progression where you're going as well. Okay, So I feel that because before it feels like you've been blocked from progression. Does that make sense to you?
Very true. Very true. Yes.
Yeah. So this time round, you're going to be given more than your fair opportunities here. So it seems to be quite exciting. And I don't feel like I've got that element. Because it's happened to you so many times, I feel like you're very, very good at being able to identify now who are likely to do that to you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Definitely. You are very, very intuitive. I have to say that you're very, very intuitive. And I feel here, it's almost like you can kind of pick up on it before it actually happens. It's like you can sense and you feel somebody's attitude towards you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that can be a really difficult thing to identify, because if there's nothing necessarily physically going on at that time, you can't resolve it. Okay. And even though it feels like you've been forced out of some of your previous positions, I feel here that, at the end of the day, it is their loss, because I feel like this is the thing, you're not work shy, you're a very hard worker, very, very hard worker, and you're also very, very capable of not only doing your job, but doing more than that, and getting that progression. But it seems like I've got in your past somebody standing in the way all the time, okay, and it always seems to be a female.
Yes.
And this kind of comes down to insecurity and jealousy. Those words seem to be coming to me very, very strongly here. And that's, how can I put it? You can't stop somebody from having those. But I feel like you've got quite a lot of personal power. And so there seems to be something within you that these women find, that they get envious of. It's like, because I feel like, otherwise you're quite happy in yourself. Does that make sense? You're very comfortable with who you are. And you're very authentic. The word authentic comes up. So I feel here it's almost like, because this is something that they lack, that they kind of want to rob you of that in that sense. They don't want you to be shining and happy and what have you, because deep down, that's not what they're feeling. They're not shiny and they're not happy. They're very dissatisfied with their lot in life, even though it appears that they've got quite a lot going for them. Okay? So I feel like you kind of reached the end of that phase of learning. And I also feel here that you've got quite a strong sense of spirituality as well. And you are how can I put it? You are a highly sensitive person. You are very empathic, and I feel here that sensitivity is kind of what makes that situation a little bit worse, because you can feel it. You can feel the energy of it. Does that make sense? And it weighs down on you.
Yes, and that's my next question. That I am intuitive, as you said, but then there are fears too in my mind. And how can I make a difference between these two? That what's real feelings and what's just fear?
Sorry, say that again.
As you said, that I'm intuitive, but sometimes, I get fears in my mind. So how can I make a difference between these two?
Okay, so how can you know the difference between your thoughts and your intuitive senses?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. I mean, fundamentally, how can I put it? You've got to listen to your heart. You've got to tune into the heart energy. And generally, it's about, how can I put it, exploring it a little bit more, and learning to define what is yours and what is not. Okay. Generally, if there are thoughts that that we tend to, how can I put it? It's there's a slightly different vibration to it. Okay. The intuitive side of you, I actually feel is going to become a lot clearer anyway. So you're going to be able to, you are going to be able to tell the difference. And I feel here, it's almost like go with your intuition, write those things down, okay, that you're feeling, that you're sensing, and watch over the next few days after doing that, what is actually happening, okay? And that way you'll be able to define what's your intuitive side and what's your own thoughts. But that is a big challenge that a lot of people have, is learning to distinguish between the two, because they're very, very similar.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to thank you very much. It's nearly the end of my show. I'm going to thank you very much for calling through, and I'm going to wish you a lovely evening.
Thank you so much for your time. Truly appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. You take care.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, so that's it. We are nearly done. So if you want to get hold of me, my website is www.modern-mystic.co.uk. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter under Modern Mystic, and also Mystic Sarah. So I'm going to wish you a very, very lovely week ahead, and I hope you enjoyed the topic. It is something that resonates with you. Please do get in touch with me. Available for readings pretty much 24/7. So see you soon. Take care for now.